You've probably wondered why some people seem to have a natural knack for attracting money, while others spend their lives struggling without seeing results. We're taught to work hard, to save, to get a good job. But what if I told you that all of that is just a small part of the equation and that there are money secrets that most people never discover? Let's imagine that money is a game and that, without knowing it, many people play by the wrong rules. Some were taught from a young age how to move each piece, how to take advantage of each opportunity. Others, however, were trapped in a cycle of debt and limitations. Have you ever wondered what separates those who understand money from those who never master it? Today, we're not going to talk about complicated theories or difficult to understand financial terms. We're going to explore how money really works in a simple and practical way. Inspired by the lessons of Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, we're going to reveal 8 lessons that schools and universities don't teach you. Ready to look at money in a different way? Stay until the end, and you will learn how to change the way you think about money. Lesson 1. Change your mindset. The first key to understanding money without becoming an expert is simple. You have to change how you look at it. In the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Kiyosaki tells of 2 important figures in his life who gave him opposite lessons about money. On one hand, there was his poor dad, who taught him the typical path: study, get a good job, and save. On the other hand, there was his rich dad, who thought differently and showed him how to make money work for him instead of him working for money. The big difference between the two was their vision. To his poor dad, money was limited, something you had to take care of and hold on to. His rich dad, on the other hand, saw money as a tool, something you can make grow if you know how to use it correctly. This shift in perspective is essential. When you stop seeing money as an end and start seeing it as a means, everything changes. It's not just about saving or avoiding spending, it's about learning how to make every dollar you earn work for you. Lesson 2. Assets versus liabilities. This is where one of Kiyosaki's key concepts comes in: assets and liabilities. For this author, there are only 2 types of elements in financial life. Assets are what put money in your pocket. These are your allies and can be investments, income-producing properties, or your own businesses. Liabilities, on the other hand, are what take money out of your pocket, such as debts, unnecessary purchases, or credit cards. If you want to understand money without being an expert, you just need to remember this simple rule: invest in assets and avoid liabilities as much as possible. When you think in terms of assets and liabilities, you realize that many of the things you once considered good investments aren't really good investments. For example, imagine you buy a luxury car. On the surface, it may seem like a symbol of success and stability, but it's actually a clear liability. Not only did it cost you money to buy it, but it loses value every year, and you still have to pay maintenance, insurance, fuel, and other expenses. In short, the car is constantly draining money from your pocket. Instead, if you decide to invest that same money into a business or rental property, those assets have the potential to generate income rather than just expenses. That invested money could grow and, over time, put more money in your pocket instead of taking it out. Lesson 3. Financial education matters. Kiyosaki repeats it over and over again. Financial education is essential. Although it may sometimes sound technical or complicated, understanding some basic concepts can help you make smarter financial decisions. You don't need to become a specialist or have a degree in economics, but it is key that you learn how to read a financial statement, know how basic taxes work, and know how to take advantage of interest rates to your advantage. Financial education, in reality, is nothing more than learning the rules of the money game. Let's think, for example, about a person who overnight receives a good amount of money. Without financial education, it is very likely that he will spend it on liabilities, on things that will only generate future expenses, such as a house or overly expensive cars. But if he has a solid foundation of financial education, he could use that same money to invest in assets. That is, in things that generate income in the long term. Having this understanding changes the way you view money and the opportunities that come your way. Instead of working just to make money, you learn to make money work for you. If you find today's content interesting, don't forget to leave your like and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Let's continue. Lesson 4. Escape from the rat race. The famous rat race is that cycle in which many people find themselves trapped without realizing it. They work to pay off debts, but then go back into debt to cover other expenses, and so on. Instead of building wealth or moving towards financial freedom, they're in a loop of work and payments that seems to have no end. This happens when income depends solely on a salary, which means that every penny they earn is tied to the time they spend working. It's like running on a hamster wheel. They run a lot, but they never get out of the same place. So how do you break out of this trap? The key is to build multiple sources of income, especially those that are passive, meaning they don't require your constant presence to keep generating money. A classic example is an apartment that you can rent out. Although it involves an initial investment, once you have the asset, you can receive income every month without having to actively work. Another option is to invest in stocks or mutual funds that generate profits over time. The goal is to build a portfolio of assets that work for you. Ultimately, the goal of generating passive income is to create financial freedom that allows you to live without depending on every hour of work. When your money starts making more money without you having to be present, you are taking solid steps out of the rat race. Lesson 5. Don't overspend. Many people believe that the more they earn, the more they should spend. But this is one of the most common mistakes when it comes to money. True wealth is not measured by what you have now, but by how long you could live without working if you stop receiving income. That's why those who truly understand how money works seek to build a life where their expenses are low and their passive income is high, without having to depend on a constant paycheck. Now, living like this doesn't mean you have to adopt a super austere lifestyle or give up on enjoying yourself. It's more about having a clear strategy and building wealth intelligently. An example of this is Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon and one of the richest men in the world. Throughout his life, he was never surrounded by luxuries or sports cars. On the contrary, he lived with the essentials and concentrated his resources on building more assets, on investing in things that would generate value for him in the long term. The key is to maximize every dollar you have by spending it on things that really bring you something. Instead of spending on things that only bring momentary satisfaction, invest in assets that generate income. Avoid falling into the cycle of earning and spending without control. Lesson 6. Taking calculated risks. Kiyosaki insists that to win at the money game, you have to learn to take risks. But it's not about making crazy bets. Rather, it's about knowing how to evaluate opportunities and make informed decisions. Most people avoid risk for fear of losing, and understandably so. No one likes the idea of seeing their money disappear. However, it's not about playing it safe, but about learning to calculate and manage those risks intelligently. Let's think of obvious examples, such as investing in the stock market or starting your own business. Both options involve risk, but they also open the door to great returns if managed well. Let's say that instead of leaving your money in a savings account with a minimal return, you decide to invest in a diversified fund. This type of fund can have ups and downs in the short term, but in the long term, it has the potential to offer returns far superior to those of a savings account. The important thing is to change your mindset. Instead of seeing risk as something that can leave you with nothing, think of it as a tool that, if used intelligently, can multiply your money. It doesn't mean jumping in without a net, but rather learning to navigate the world of investments with knowledge. In the end, money doesn't reward those who play without taking risks, but those who move forward and dare to take advantage of opportunities. Lesson 7. Learn the power of compound interest. This concept has been used by big-name investors like Warren Buffett to multiply their wealth impressively over the years. And what exactly is compound interest? Simply put, it's the process by which your earnings generate more earnings. So, over time, what starts out as a small investment can snowball into an unstoppable, ever-growing fortune. Imagine that you decide to invest a modest amount of money each month into a fund that offers an annual return. At first, the results may seem modest, but the fascinating thing about compound interest is that as you reinvest your earnings, the interest accumulation begins to accelerate noticeably. For example, if you decide to contribute $100 per month to a fund that yields 8% per year, after 10 years, those savings could grow to over $18,000. This shows that over time, even a small investment can result in significant growth, thanks to the power of compound interest. The magic happens because you're not only earning interest on your initial investment, but you're also earning interest on the interest. This effect is what makes compound interest so powerful. The key is to start as early as possible and be consistent. Don't worry if the results aren't immediate at first. Over time, the buildup turns into exponential growth. Keep in mind that the sooner you start investing, the more time your money will have to grow. Lesson 8. Build a network. The importance of knowing the right people is often underestimated, but having connections can open doors to opportunities that cannot be achieved with theoretical knowledge alone. Connecting with people from diverse industries can offer a fresh and valuable perspective on how to manage money. Casual conversations can lead to surprising discoveries about investments, financial strategies, or booming businesses. Additionally, a well-established network can provide access to collaboration opportunities. Imagine partnering with someone who has complementary skills to yours. This can result in joint projects that you might not have otherwise considered. It's not just about receiving, it's also essential to offer support to others. Being generous with your time and knowledge can strengthen those relationships and make others willing to help you when you need it. So, get out there and meet new people, attend events, and leverage digital platforms to expand your network. Understanding how money works is not a luxury, but a necessity. You don't have to be an expert or have a six-figure salary to get started. What you need is an open mind and a desire to learn. Are you ready to apply some of these lessons from Robert Kiyosaki? We'll read you in the comments. If you like today's video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next content. See you!